Hello and welcome to the Alexandra Wenman Show with my beautiful friend and soul brother Chris Fitchew. And I love this guy, and I'm so happy to be interviewing you in person today. We're not on Zoom. I can actually cuddle you. Chris is the most incredible joy alchemist. He creates beautiful events, and one of those incredible events is called the Wonderment, and also the Wonderment Boutique Retreat Festival in Thailand. So, Chris, let's start. Obviously, you've been on my show before, but a lot has happened since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, I've been a couple of times on this show. And first of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. And you look fabulous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You too. Glowing. We dress the same today. We're in our Hawaiian.
Yeah, and you know, it's a lot has happened, but I think the constant has been over the last 5 years has been this this baby of mine, which is Wonderment Retreat Festival, which is coming up. It's in Wasing Woods, and it's been almost like the sort of anchor every year at the end of the summer, before autumn, on equinox. We gather.
My birthday weekend.
Yes, your birthday weekend. We gather, and it's really important to sort of have that stop, after a busy summer and before the sort of more introspective winter. Certainly with one's tribe, and it's grown over the years, but the intention's always stayed the same, to come in, to heal with joy and fun and play, to raise the vibration, and so that has really been something that I've just kept, and there's so many other things that have happened around it, namely basically wanting to do a more condensed, deeper dive with a smaller group. Wonderment Retreat Festival is 150, 200. But
it's lovely and intimate, isn't it?
It's intimate.
It's proper family.
It feels like a large retreat and a small festival, and that was always the intention. And it will never grow that, because obviously we all eat together, so it's important that we dine together, eat together, break bread together. But the trips to Thailand, the smaller boutique retreat, which is where Alexandra came and did her beautiful work. I'm so grateful. It fits so well into the retreat festival, and now works well into everything, but certainly into the ethos of wonderment and what we're trying to do. And and the 20 people that we have in the more smaller retreats, the much more like boutique retreats, in the wonderful setting of the sanctuary.
Oh my God, it's so heavenly, isn't it? It's I can I talk a little bit about?
Yeah, I'd love you to. I'd love to. So explain what we're intending, and it's so good because not only do you, like I said, contribute your great work, but you also are a part of it, which is what we all are, and it'd be great to hear.
That's it. Even as practitioners, both for the Wasing event and the boutique retreat festival, as practitioners we get to be participants, and I love that about these events. It's so beautiful. One of the things I really, really love is that feeling of community, and one of my favourite times that we had the Wonderment was literally during the pandemic. In the year that they banned dancing and they banned all the events, it was the only festival that was allowed to go ahead because it was all outdoors and it was a retreat and it was educational. And we kind of held such a frequency, didn't we, of high vibration for the whole planet. It really felt microcosm to macrocosm. But I loved as well in April when we went to Thailand and we did the first boutique retreat festival, which of course is coming up now in October. Yeah. The next one is this October, and we're so looking forward to it. And I'm going to pop all the links below so that if anyone wants to book, we still have places. But it was pure magic. It's at the sanctuary, isn't it? In Sanctuary in Koh Phangan. And I brought my water alchemy to the island, and I sort of found this place. Chris was like, where do you want to do your event? I found this beautiful mermaid portal into the beach, like a private bay. And I got into the water. The water was crystal clear, and there were these two huge rocks that you could do rebirth kind of symbolism through. But when I turned around and looked up, there was an actual mermaid just created by nature in the stones with the tree as her hair, and it was an actual mermaid up on the rocks, and I was just like, it's too perfect, isn't it? So magical.
I mean, and that was it. It's full of that, and I think because the container of wonderment allows anything to come up like that, and the fact that you even had your water alchemy just birthed and ready to go out to the world, and we had a sort of a ceremony in the water, in and around the water. You then worked with the cards with our group for the first time, which was such an honour.
Special.
I mean, the cards, for those of you who haven't seen the cards, get the cards, they're amazing. I'm obsessed with them. And it was so perfect. And then the following day, for you to do your sort of angel alchemy, which is much more the heavenly and from of the higher, obviously. And we had it in that beautiful treehouse.
We went right to the top, didn't we? Started at the beach, and then we went right up to the pinnacle.
Which we have to do the same this year. That was something that definitely worked. That anyone who's coming will definitely experience that. Your two polarity work. Well, it's not polar, but it's your two ends of the spectrum. In this venue, and that's the thing with the venue at the Sanctuary. It's on a beach, but it's right in jungle. It's on a jungle hill, and all the bungalows that we stay in are all up the hill. These beautiful on these sort of pillar structures.
It's like Robinson Crusoe, isn't it?
I mean, it's stunning. It's so stunning. And all different kinds of bungalows. Some really super high end with aircon and huge vistas and balconies. Some like really reasonable, but all beautiful. I mean, even the cheap ones were stunning.
Oh yeah.
And so you can sort of expand or treat yourself to whatever your budget allows on the actual accommodation, which is on top of the retreat price, which includes all the food, all of the workshops and the excursions, the boat trip. We did the most amazing boat trip.
We saw dolphins. We had dolphins swimming alongside the boat. And we were so joyful, though, weren't we? We called them in. It was just the vibration was so high.
I can imagine if, every time we go out, I think there will be. Every time we go out, they'll be there. So we are island hopping on this amazing speedboat that took us to all the national park. And that was sort of towards the end of the week. We were there for 5 days and full deep diving workshops and deeply transformational work. But then we're a believer that it's great to integrate the work in play and joy and adventure. And we do a beautiful jungle trek one day, which was great. And then on the second to last day, we did this amazing boat trip. It just brings the group together. And
then the last night we went out dancing, didn't we? Danced our socks off. So it's got a lovely mixture of everything, And there's, I find the space holders that Chris brings together are just the most authentic, beautiful, open-hearted people. I mean, obviously myself included.
But all of them,
I love, we all mesh together. It's like a big family. Nobody's kind of single-minded. Everyone is there for the collective. It's very collaborative. We all celebrate each other, and there's beautiful, because it's such a small retreat, there's space for people to feel really held and to actually get lots of one-on-one time with us as the teachers and the practitioners as well. You get very held, because in work like this, obviously a lot of stuff does come up. And then there's, space for you to really feel like you can allow yourself to go on a bit of a deep dive into any vulnerabilities, but then feel held and loved and nourished. And then there's the incredible food, of course. The food is just divine.
Yeah. I mean, every night we sit down together, have beautiful, it's very fresh. It's like vegan with a bit of pescatarian, because the fish is fresh off out the sea. And so, we do offer that, obviously, for people who want that. But mainly vegan, vegetarian, very organic and locally sourced, all cooked in the kitchens there. It's amazing. I mean, it's like a real treat, not only for the soul and for your personal development, things. A lot of people come that are at a bit of a crossroads, that just need that kind of deep dive with a group like ours. It just helps them trajectorize, if that's a word, into the next part of their life. And the feedback we had from all the people who came, I mean, I don't know, did you see some of the testimonials? Were beautiful.
I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, all on the website. And so it's quite nice that we've got the growth in. We've always had our Wonderment Retreat Festival, which is the annual get-together in the woods at Wasing. Beautiful land, very earthy, very wood. And then we've got now the addition of the deep dive of the retreat boutique retreat, which feels very watery and jungly and adventure-y. And then the idea is to start adding different locations and concepts. So, I'd like to a sort of mountainous one, like a trek kind of vibe. And then maybe a sporty one, like a friend of mine owns a hotel in Morocco, and it's very surfy, so it's like a kind of...
I also think there's going to be a few Aussies that might want Wonderment down under, mate.
Wow.
I think we might need to...
Is anyone there? You've got a gorgeous place for us to bring it down. We'd be very, very grateful to collaborate. And it's collaborating with great spaces, with what we do, with our practitioners and contributors and teachers, and wisdom sharers, and also working with I mean, we worked with some people that were based in the sanctuary, for example, and we'll do that, wherever we go. I think it's important to work.
Integrated.
Yeah, to work with the people that are there, and collaborate. I'm all for the word collaboration, and I have been for the last few years. It's where the alchemy is, isn't it? Where you start to fuse different people's skills, or fuse like what we do with what another venue does, and then you see the similarities, but you also see the newness and things that come from it. Like when we did the wonderful alchemistic event down at Glastonbury, which I had the pleasure for doing. That was so good. Bringing, because we love the word alchemy. We love. I love doing the joy alchemy.
Encapsulates it, doesn't it?
Well, it's making magic. It's transmuting one thing to another. It's turning one thing from one state to another. It's working with something to provide and help people grow and learn and raise the frequency and vibration, which certainly you've been doing for many, many years, and I've been doing for certain years, and actually we stepped it up since the world has shifted. We have had to mega shift.
You've been taking Joy Alchemy. I have to say, Alchemistic was such a super special event because we had Chris just doing what Chris does, and it was literally just you doing you, and the Joy Alchemy that is so infectious. And one of the things that I've known as a practitioner, especially a multidimensional healer and alchemist, and somebody who does really, really deep work and oftentimes a lot of shadow work, the importance of joy and keeping the vibration high. It's the most powerful protection that you can have, especially around a group like that, an event like that. And I think that you being there really helped, because we did some talks and events and processes that were very deep, and then Chris came in and lifted everyone back up again, and we had and then you led us on that beautiful walk up to the tour, and we sang and we danced. It was so beautiful. But can we talk about this, because you've taken your Joy Alchemy and the Wonderment to loads of different festivals this summer, haven't you? You've been everywhere. What have you been doing?
Well, that's it. And it's funny because, do you know what, I would say 2 or 3 years ago I kept my world very separate, because I felt that that's how one should be. I've always done events. I've always done cabaret and comedy. I've done big events, and then I do my spiritual side, my conscious side, call it, which I've always had a problem with that conscious event. But really, it's been the healing world, the mind, body, soul world. I've done my work. I've done my plant medicines abroad in Peru, and obviously we know how that ended. But through the transmutation and the alchemy of what happened there, it got me to where I am today, so I'm super grateful. But it was I think post-pandemic, I was like, you know what? I used to be never the twain shall the worlds meet. And I'm like, no, I'm not ashamed of my, exuberant world of festivals and hosting comedy shows and hosting big, huge kind of burlesque shows and circus shows and bringing my comedy and joy alchemy into that, but actually bringing in my sort of conscious self and using, channeling to sort of convey and purvey over a crowd and get the best out of a crowd and raise the frequency of a crowd. And I sort of see that there was a similarity, and even, bringing the spirituality into that, but bringing also the theatrics into the spiritual side, and that's how when I look at Wonderment, when we have for example, instead of an evening meditation, we'll have stargazing with amazing music, rather than having, we'll have forest bathing that turns into mermaid swimming lessons, some play element intertwined into it. And I suppose, this summer I've had such a great success. Now I'm stepping forward and going, this is me, I do it all. And I celebrate joy and laughter and festivities and revelry and merriment. The word merriment came up.
Merriment's great.
Merriment,
yeah.
it's healing, and actually, I did a venue at Wilderness. I did a huge, massive, wonderful spectacle at Secret Garden, which I really brought in my spiritual side. I brought in my knowledge of intergalactic benevolent alien beings into a show that included a drone show and a fireworks show and videos all about such, in a theme that was Secret Garden were doing outer space. and they were talking about doing this big spectacle on Saturday night where 20,000 people
Look
watched.
at you bringing heaven to earth.
Well, honey, I was brought in on the creative side, and he was like, "Oh, you're going to do this, that, and the other." I won't say. And then I was like, "Well, actually, we need to talk about the fact that it's not outer space.
We need to talk about aliens, darling."
Yeah. No, it's like saying aliens are on Earth. We are aliens.
Yeah.
We are amongst aliens. It's here. They're here. The intergalactic benevolent beings are assisting us right now. Let's try and talk about that. And so I really brought it in where they've got this huge, amazing mothership space kind of like being giving a message to the Earthlings via Alan Watts. So we brought Alan Watts into a Saturday night spectacle at Secret Garden with 20,000 people who were into their merriment. And that it's when you're doing that, you're like, okay, this is the work I can do. I can do me. I can only do you. I can do me, which is these worlds intertwined. And then just finally, as I'm on a roll, because I'm so passionate, Medicine Festival, which was stunning. We had a venue on the top of the hill, which basically, medicine was wonderful. It had, indigenous tribes from all around the world. We had some deep work. We had the local Druids and the Celtics. We had ceremony upon ceremony and deep work. Lots of workshops. It was profound. It was wonderful. Well done to Zach and Chenna and George and all the organisers of medicine. I've been working with them for many, many years, bringing the joy element. The jester element, the jester that is literally raising the vibration with laughter and play. And so we had cabarets every night. We had game shows, Search for the Soulmate, my conscious...
Oh my God, you did that in Thailand. Yeah. It was brilliant.
Search for the Soulmate is my conscious dating show, which is basically like blind date, a laugh, but a bit of jokes as well, but deeply serious and shamanic. And
but deeply serious,
serious and shamanic. And then we go.
You beat the dramas they go off on their first date.
And it really works because we're opening up hearts and we're healing hearts and we're asking people to play and saying to people, look, it's not that serious. And then the best thing was we did a wonderful theatrical tea ceremony, which was called Chalice in Wonderland, where we basically had the characters from Alice in Wonderland lead everybody up the rabbit hole to this huge dining table with china teacups. And basically we did the most exquisite tea ceremony where we all got to make our own teas, basically honouring neurodiversity and mental health and neuroticism and idiosyncrasies because, I'm a big believer of not, ignoring it, especially when we're talking about everything else, but the mind being as in what is our human physical condition with what we have been given to help us through our journey. I obviously have a smidge of the ADHD and I've made it work and I've not hidden behind it and I've embraced it. And I'll have 20 tabs open on the computer, and I'll do,
Don't look at my.
No, I'll do, But ultimately, one takes the lion's mane and the mugwort, and you assist it, and you support it, and you honour it, and you talk about it. And so we had all the characters talking about their idiosyncrasies. So the White Rabbit, ADHD, the Mad Hatter, mania, the Queen, Red Queen, bipolar, and narcissism. We had the Caterpillar, addiction. The cat, ideas of grandeur, and so on. And we were honouring it in a tea ceremony with 100 people. And then we made the tea, and then we drank the tea, and we celebrated. It was one of the most defining, refined, beautiful moments of my life. And because it brought everything together. Theatricality, drama, seriousness, consciousness, mental health, and ultimately joy and play ended up in a dance,
and just receiving people as they are.
Yeah.
Really no judgment, just allowing people to be as they are.
Yeah, and it's that I think defines Wonderment, and we will always be pushing to do moments like that. And a lot of people said it was not only one of their most favourite moments of medicine of their life. And that's all we can do, give people moments and give people things to think about and be inspired by to help them on their way in this time to raise vibrations so that they're healthier, happier, more secure, ready to take on board all the things that's going on right now. That's the point.
That's it. We need a bit of whimsy. I mean, one of the things that I say to my clients as we begin a session is we can talk about anything here. Don't worry if it seems weird and out there and even supernatural, or you've been kind of treated like you're nuts in other realms, maybe in what other other what do we even call them, systems, because we are having such an incredible awakening that anything is possible in this day and age, and it's only going to get weirder, and we need to kind of celebrate the weirdness because we've been put in so many boxes, haven't we? It's like let ourselves be each other. Let's play and dance and honor each other, and I love that. And what you're doing, I keep getting the word whimsy and whimsical. That's what I think the Wonderment is. It brings an element of whimsy, and it's light-hearted, but it's also robust and supportive, and it's within such a gorgeously held container. You know, it's like nothing's really off limits, so you can be who you are, but you get held in that, and then it's like you're allowed to blossom. And I really feel, you know, and I especially have felt it in the last couple of years when we've done it since the pandemic, where we really are creating a microcosmic world, like a microcosm of what the world should be, because it's so unconditionally loving. And the people that come, you know, you just see their faces light up, and they're like, "We're coming back next year." It's like you're part of a family, and
It
I
is,
really love that.
and I love also it's kind of, it suits everybody, especially the retreat festival really does suit everybody in the sense of wherever you're at with your, let's call it, journey or whatever. You know, I've had, for example, you know, ladies come with their husbands who are quite resistant to all of this because it's not their thing. And
my husband included.
Yeah, and they'll start the week a bit like, oh, you know, I'll just sort of stick to the more fun, light-hearted stuff. And then, you know, the next day they might go to a breath workshop. In fact, a friend of mine went to Richie Bostock's breath workshop, and then his life was transformed because, you know, breath work's really a great access, certainly for people who find meditation difficult, because it really does lead you. It's scientific. You're told how to breathe and when to breathe, and you go through a process with these highly amazing professionals and world-class breath workers.
It's intense.
And then you actually feel, see, and experience the shift. And then the next day, you know, they're in the sweat lodge, and then the final day they're literally in the kirtan, because, you know, we really do create steps for people that they choose their own track. So we all eat together, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then between that, there are workshop slots, and within those slots, there's always a choice of 4. So within that 4, you could have something as deep as a sweat lodge, then something as creative as raku pottery with Kim Bircher, which is great, and then you can have something quite, you know, land-based, you know, forest bathing, or, you know, and then something maybe like what you're doing, your angelic work, or your sacred geometry, your sacred precious wisdom work. You know, and you can tune in. Everybody always introduces the workshops in the morning, so guests can see, you know, the people, and I think it's important because sometimes you tune into someone who are like, oh yeah, I fancy, you know, what they've got to say. So it really does enable everybody to guide, and it's done in a timetable. And I've always been a lover of this because I believe, if everyone knows what's going on all the time, we're eating now, we're breaks now, we're doing workshops now, you never like panic whether you're going to miss food or if you're going to be missing out on something. You know, everyone's in the same sort of track. You also can drop a period and not go to a workshop and just go for a walk or a swim in the lake. You know, but it just gives a parameter. So within those workshops, the freedom and the openness is rich, you know, and the transformation is real. And actually, I love the word transmutation, transmute. And even though it's very similar to the word alchemy, it's similar to the word transformation. Transmute, it really is changing something into something, you know, for the better, you know. And I'm feeling that that's going to be the theme of this year, transmute. You know, if you've got a bad lot, you can transmute it. You know, even if you're in a bad mood, you can transmute it if you have the tools, which you know we're going to be sharing at Wonderment this year. Transmute, like that.
I love transmute. Chris.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got the guides talking to me.
Oh, okay.
Would you feel up for giving our viewers a little tiny taste of some joy alchemy, like 5 minutes, something?
I mean, it's interesting you should ask that because it's funny because it's like, well, what I normally it normally involves, you know, music and movement. I'm just trying to, you know, and it involves me talking about my journey. I'm just trying to think what would work on the screen.
Can we connect them to the joy within, maybe? So I think get them to just imagine or feel it? Just feel it. How would you get them
Well,
to feel it?
what about this? It's this. Okay, so let's just sort of focus. So again, this is something we could maybe even, I don't know, could maybe put some music on afterwards. But what I tend to do, the big thing about joy alchemy often is to start from a bit of a neutral place. And so a lot of the time, it's very interesting when we're looking at our emotions and our frequencies in our body, is to recognize actually what joy is as an energetic frequency. And also to do that, it's also quite good to recognize the opposite. So, fear and anger and, heartache and self-loathing. And so I think let us start by closing our eyes. And let's just take some breath in, just to give ourselves a bit of grounding, feet on ground, breathing in from above. Breathing in through the nose, holding it at the top. Just purification of the system by breathing out. Imagine you're breathing into your body, just cleansing. And this is something I've been doing a lot of. Breathing in through the nose is your secret weapon throughout any situation. It brings oxygen into the body. And if you imagine it sucking in that wonderful energy from above, then you're bringing in the elixir from above. Let's breathe in through the nose. And hold. Just slowly bringing down into the body. Now, I want us to start by just tuning into our heart, our wonderful, beautiful heart. Let's tune into our heart chakra, green in colour, bright and bold, encapsulating the entire space around your chest, your breastbone, your heart, your lungs. And just tune into the location. And then what I'd like us to do is to just move a little bit in front of the heart. And right in front of your heart, imagine a green light connected to your heart. And I want us to start by placing with your mind's eye all of the things into that ball of light that might make you feel a little bit not joyous. I'm talking maybe someone who makes you feel bad. Maybe an argument that made you feel toxic. Just place them one by one into that ball of light. We're going to be releasing these things. But while we do, I want us to notice how we're feeling. So placing it in, maybe it's something that you tell yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm too this, I'm too that. And we all know the chatter that rises into our psyche. Let's pop it in this ball of light. Whilst feeling these feelings of irksomeness, these feelings of low vibrational, sticky, like unjoy,
Unjoy.
Unjoy. Killjoy.
Very, very unjoyful, darling.
And also, let's also place in there anything that is in the past maybe been a bit of a killjoy. Remember a moment in your life when you've been so joyous, feeling such joy, and someone just stops it there and then. There's a story that I've said before where I was 4 years old wearing a beautiful bridesmaid dress of one of my next door neighbours, running around with such joy, just loving this beautiful bridesmaid dress, when all of a sudden her father came stomping up the stairs when she was like, quick, get under the bed, hide! My father can't see you and that boys can't wear dresses. So I hid under the dress, and sure enough, the father come and, get under that dress, you wofter! Boys don't wear dresses. And you can imagine this little boy, the joy being stripped out of him. Well, I've made it up for it in years of wearing fabulous outfits.
Always in tinsel, darling.
So I've made up for it. But that joy, I had to work hard at that killjoy moment. So if anyone else has any of these, just pop it in that ball of light. And just let's breathe in through the nose. Breathe into that ball of light. Get rid of all these anti-joy, killjoy, no joy items. And as we breathe in one more time, the beautiful, intelligent God spark energy from above, divine light from above through the nose. And this time when you blow, just start to blow that ball a little bit further away. and just feel lighter within the body as you see that ball of light move further and further and further away. Further away. And maybe there's a thread that attaches that ball of light all the way back to your heart. That thread of, sometimes we like clinging on to these missed messages. Sometimes it's comforting, but no, whilst we are bringing more joy into our life, we need space. So let us take an imaginary piece of knife or glass or scissors, golden scissors or any implement you want, and in your own time, let us snip that ball away, snip that golden thread, that green thread from your heart to the ball, and see all of those things within the ball disappear right the way further into the distance, back into the divine where they came. With gratitude, send the emotion, feeling of gratitude to all of the lessons that came within each and every one of those moments. And sit in a space of space right now. Keep breathing into this situation, this wonderful moment, as you start to see another ball of light come from the distance. Now imagine that ball of light. It's a new colour, any colour you like. It might be even a different shade of green. It might be violet, it might be white, it might be just plain light. And as that ball of light comes towards you, what I want you to do now is place into that ball of light all the things that bring you joy. Maybe things that you want to bring into your life that aren't yet. Maybe you are ready for that partner, that soulmate, to bring you joy. Maybe that job that you just never quite been able to reach is in that ball of light. As that ball of light gets closer and closer and closer and sits a meter in front of you, and you can feel the energy from it, place in the feeling of joy. And if you find it difficult to feel joy, then just think about the thing in your life that's brought you the most joy. Imagine it may be the time you climbed a mountain. It might be a birthday with all your friends there. Think back to that feeling. Access that inner feeling of joy that you've had before. Maybe it's something that happened at school or at work. Maybe it's a holiday. Maybe it's even just lying on a beach. Maybe you need to simplify it. Maybe it's just a word. Maybe you have a word that brings you joy. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Place it all in the ball of light. And then start to bring that ball of light right in front of your heart. And in a minute, I want you to just bring it all into your body. And I want you to notice the feeling, the frequency, the access frequency of joy as you bring it in your own time. Whilst breathing it in and allowing that ball of light of joy to pass through every cell of your entire body, up and down, around, into your eyes, your mind, your brain, your aura. And that's the thing with joy. Joy is a frequency that can be passed around in abundance. Spread that joy back out again into a light that reaches people that you feel that needs the joy. Send it to your partner that maybe is at work that's having difficulties. Send it to your mum who's just feeling a little bit lonely. Send the joy out. The more joy you send out, the more can be returned.
My little cat Jezebel's turning up. She can feel it.
Just on cue, we've got a cat. Meow. Oh. Did you feel it?
That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We really needed that today, I think. I think everyone needs this at the moment. You know, it's been such an intense few years. And
I mean, the good thing about joy,
it's
and this
lovely.
is like, I don't know, it sounds bad, but it's sort of one way you can sort of fake it till you make it.
Yes, laughter yoga. Just laugh.
But it's like if you're feeling awful, just literally think about something that happened once. Bring it in. You know, it's sometimes you have to use your mind, which is often the thing that's got you unjoy in the first place, to trick back into joy. And it's a feeling, and it's a thing. You know, it's also very close to the frequency of love. It's very, if not the same frequency. And if you're having heartache or if you're feeling unloved, go and just be joyous. Go to comedy night or just bring joy in.
I always say that to people, you know, if you've been through something really hard or even really weird, watch a comedy, like switch off the news, go away from the stuff that makes you feel heavy. Dance, sing, play, laugh. I have one of my favourite stories actually is our beautiful friend Lorraine and I went on a pilgrimage, and it was a Mary Magdalene pilgrimage back in 2017 to Rennes-le-Chateau, and it was 12 of us. It was beautiful, but we were doing a lot of really deep, heavy work, clearing work on the land and everything. And we'd had this incredible day of just like really deep diving and channeling. And that night it was us and our other friend Andrea from Ibiza. And we got into bed that night, the three of us, and I was sleeping like upstairs, or Lorraine and I were sleeping upstairs in like a mezzanine thing, and Andrea was like down in this sofa bed, I think. And we were just chatting, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it was like the frequency went through the roof, and we all started laughing, and we couldn't stop for about 3 hours. We were laughing, we're in our beds, laughing till we were crying for about 3 hours, and it was just the release of it all, but the vibration just shot up, and Lorraine and I had the similar thing in Egypt when we were there as well. We literally, for no reason, it was just like the frequency. And I think we need that reward, we need the balance of doing the deep work and not taking ourselves too seriously. I think we can get really bogged down in the shadow or in the stories of what we're looking at, what we're clearing, what we're doing, of what's going on the earth. And we need that lightheartedness of spirit. And we need to be like that with each other too, I think. Cut each other some slack. If you've had a heavy conversation with a partner or something, maybe sit and do this process with them. It's a lovely way to share, isn't it?
It's funny because we're filming this in the middle of Mercury retrograde, which is quite everything's a little bit, and actually I need to give myself some of my own medicine because like, the last few days I've been just like, and it's funny how sometimes you don't, because you have to sit in that frequency, but it's really key to remind yourself, because it does help. It helps with, like you say, dealing with processing confrontation, which, is part of life, or inner conflict or inner turmoil. It does help you sort of navigate and work things out much easier. So,
we can all have tantrums at the universe from time to time, can't we? And we've just got to
don't blame the universe.
You've got to be able to laugh about it. You've got to be able to laugh about it, don't you?
But so do try that, and like I said, obviously, joy is the sort of the centre of wonderment. Whatever we do, surrounded by all the work we do.
And I just want to say, like, that little bit that he just did is nothing compared to what you get of Chris Fitchew when he is really in his element on stage with music and costume and extravaganza, and it's larger than life and literally lights up the whole space and everyone's involved. So you need to come and see the real thing.
It's like, that's, I mean, all I will say is, if you do that, put some Hans Zimmer on at the same time. I'm obsessed with him. I think he's the key to the joy of the universe. He's so good. But no, it involves play and it involves adventure. We also do a lot of like the trip through the land that I do, a chakra trail. I'm very interested in working with the balancing of the chakras, which helps also, everything else. And a great way is that we do it through the chakra points of Wazing Woods, and we didn't do it we should try.
I missed it last time because I think we were on at the same time.
Yeah, no, we did, but I think it could also be done in the Bay in Thailand. I need to explore like where they are, but like certainly your mermaid pond is the sacral.
Well, you could incorporate the labyrinth, couldn't you? As the crown.
The labyrinth feels like the third eye. The crown needs to be somewhere at the top. Yeah, we'll do it.
Go right up to the top. Yeah.
So it was. It's just about embodying, embedding it in with like movement and, like say, like music and costumes. Actually, I mean, all the greatest magicians have the best caves.
Oh, isn't they, darling? We need the cave. We need the bling. I'm so excited about. I love the Wonderment because we dress up. Like, you don't have to, but I've always got big angel wings, or we've got amazing hats, or glow in the dark costumes.
Well, Saturday night is always the party when we encourage everyone to sort of dance as we dress up, as we have our amazing DJs. We've got Morts and Lils again this year. And Dandelion, our great fire guy, and LED guy. We've got Louisa, who was at Medicine with us with her great fans. There's all sorts of great entertainment, singers, and we're very interested in like the day being the work and the evening being the festival side. where we, like I said, eat together, and then we have ceremony.
And we have open mic as well. So if anyone
mic.
wants to come and share their poetry and sing, I do. I come up, I get up there. You actually helped me break through all my fear of doing it. Now I'm doing it. So it was like at Wonderment where I really broke through it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely somewhere where people can try new things and be held enough to. I mean, a hell of a lot of people have come as guests, and it's all very new. And then they got so, into it and supported being into it, that they're now practitioners, like Sean and what's her name? Sex therapist with a ginger hair. Rosa. Sorry, Rosa.
Love you, Rosa.
It was all these people, and so many people have now really strong teachers in their own right, because it is a supportive environment,
It's beautiful. It's lovely. Honey, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's been great. I mean, we could chat for hours.
We will chat for hours, but we've got places to be, darling.
Yeah.
I just want to remind people of the dates of when these are happening. So, obviously, Wonderment in Wazing this year is 22nd of September?
It's the 21st to the 24th of September, which falls over autumn equinox on Saturday, where we'll have a ceremony. So it starts Thursday sort of afternoon. A lot of people come Thursday for the opening ceremony, but obviously we're quite aware that a lot of people have to work on Thursday, and some people come Friday afternoon. And we also have a ticket for Saturday and Sunday, which some people can only do the weekend. Come for as much as you can, and there's different ticket prices on the website, Wonderment Retreats. And then the boutique retreat is in October. We're sort of doing our first day of orientation on Monday the 16th of October. And then we start the programme on Tuesday the 17th. And that runs till Saturday the 22nd. But then we have an integration day. And then we actually encourage people to do the sanctuary cleanse either side. It's quite nice to do it afterwards, because you sort of, you've done all this work with us, and then we sort of pass you over. You then work with the sanctuary, the amazing nutrition and naturopath team at the sanctuary, headed up by Nan, who's amazing. And people do deep cleanses where they literally just juice and no food for 3, 5, some 7 days. And you're doing like the herbs, and you're doing the colonics in the morning, and it's a deep, thorough cleanse, which, I mean, it's the benefits and the transmutation that occurs from it is unbelievable.
People came away feeling amazing, didn't they?
Yeah, amazing. And then some people just do our session for 5 days and then just chill. And you can also stay there and then, do more massages and other things that they have on offer there.
They do facials, they do
They've got a whole program.
Yoga.
And then, like I said, travelling the area, there's plenty to do on Koh Phangan and then even beyond. So, and some people just, are in the area anyway, and they sort of incorporate our 5 days within their master plan. So, do contact us if there's any questions about either one. And if you can't come to these, then please just keep on our mailing list for things in the future. Next year, certainly, we'll be doing both events. So,
Amazing. Yay.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening.
So looking forward to it. It's like my yearly event that I look forward to every year, because, of course, it's my birthday extravaganza as well. So, come and join me for my birthday. So we would love to see you there. And as I said, I'm going to pop all the links so you can sign up or have a look at the info for both events below. And just thank you so much, honey.
Bless you.
I love you so much.
And well done with all your amazing work and all the
too,
books
darling.
and these things you're offering to the world. It's truly
thank
inspirational.
Thank you for your support. You've been such an amazing support. And, to talk about water alchemy by the ocean in Thailand. I mean, it's just been amazing. And we definitely teamed with the theme. But just to say to everyone, I hope that you're having a gentle, beautiful day. Look after yourselves. Reconnect with your joy. Rewatch this 1,000 times if you need to. And just, what do they say? Dance like no one's watching. Laugh like you... Can't remember the quote. But just keep laughing. And we will see you soon.
Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.